We got another reaction video. This is from Too Lazy to Try, and he's talking about the Epstein files, the disastrous Epstein files have been released. And honestly, when the whole Epstein files was released and there was so many blacked out paragraphs, it made me wonder, like, why would you release them and there's so many black paragraphs? But hey, let's go ahead and let's see what Too Lazy got to say, and I'll give my input as we go.
To be released this past Friday, but of course the government continues to try to cover for Epstein's clients, so we only got reportedly 1% of the total files, and 80 to 90% of the documents and pictures they released were redacted or were publicly available already. So we probably got less than 0.1% of the Epstein files, but still this release had some disturbing stuff in it. And this proves there's a lot of evidence they have in their possession that they obviously don't want out there. So it must be really bad. You know, if this is what we're allowed to see, I can't imagine what they're trying to hide. So
think about it though. If only 3 to 5% of the files have been released, I don't even think it was 3 to 5%. That was less than that. And the stuff that's been released is terrible. Imagine they released the whole thing. I think honestly, 90% of the politicians that are in power right now will be in some deep S with the letter T.
One of these documents that came out confirms one of Epstein's victims and the first whistleblower reported him to the FBI and NYPD in 1996 because Epstein sold pictures of her naked 12 and 16-year-old sisters to his friends and then threatened to burn down her house if she tells anybody. So the authorities were alerted about this in 96, but they did nothing, and Epstein continued to go on victimizing underage girls. And apparently he would even check girls' IDs to make sure that they were underage. Also, some of the pictures that were released that Epstein had framed in his house were with him and children on his private jet, the Lolita Express, which is a reference to a book Epstein was obsessed with about a pedophile who's attracted to a 12-year-old. And Epstein would write quotes from this book on his victims. And he also kept this really creepy scrapbook with pictures of them. And the quotes are talking about how little they are and how little they look. And some of this stuff is just so bizarre. I don't know.
Yo, this is like beyond disgusting. Like, honestly, like, if a person reports this to the authorities in 1996 and nothing was done about it, this shows me that he knew some high-ranking officials, not only in the NYPD, but in the city government as well, and the FBI. And they still ain't do nothing about it.
How to describe it. But there's also this picture that was released where it looks like Epstein is dropping off a young girl to meet with some old guy with his shirt off. And they left him unredacted, surprisingly. And there's also this text message that was released by the House Oversight Committee that was part of the files where someone is talking about sending over girls and the price, and they give her measurements, height, and weight. And it definitely sounds like trafficking. But if you remember, the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, said there's no credible evidence of trafficking in the files.
Hold on. They released the files. You see the text messages, and you're saying that's not trafficking. That's not trafficking. Like, what is the definition of trafficking in? They're actually taking young women under the age of 18 to these old-ass pedophiles. I hope I don't get demonetized. You're taking them to these P words, and that's not trafficking? That's like saying, okay, I got a kilo of dope, and I'm taking it to my homie across the street. That's not trafficking? That's the same thing.
There's no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
And before he was at the FBI, he would talk about how the FBI needs to release all the files and prosecute the clients. But now that he's there, he's covering for them. And that's the same thing with a lot of people. Like, they have no credibility anymore, and they just want this to go away so badly because they obviously know how bad the files look. You know, they're so desperate and they just cannot shake it. And it seems like everything they do just makes things worse. First with the binder stunt, then Kash Patel on Rogan, then the DOJ memo concluding basically there are no files, and then Trump calling it a hoax, that's where people just lost it. So Trump's administration had to do damage control. They started calling every influencer to beg them to stop talking about the files or to get them to do damage control. Like Alex Jones admitted he got a call. He said Trump's administration called him and asked him what it would take to get him to shut up about it. Then also Tim Dillon, he didn't just get a call, he got a free seafood dinner with JD Vance.
It's sad that these individuals and the administration are calling influencers, people like Alex Jones, he's been deplatformed for the whole, school thing. They're asking him to stop talking about it. He was one of the main ones to say, release the files, release the files. These guys are conservatives saying release the files, and now the administration, because I'm going to tell you something. They know they boy in it. So that's why they want people to stop talking about it.
So you could tell these people are just so desperate. They're trying to do anything they can to get people to slow down and stop talking about the Epstein files and stop pushing for the release.
I had dinner last week with the vice president. He told me they do not have videos of any powerful person in a compromising position. That's the party line that they're going with.
And I can tell you a lot more. I mean, I've had the White House call up and be like, last week, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you think I'm doing all this just to get something? I've never asked for anything. I want you to do what you were elected to do.
Yeah.
So it went from, you're bad, we're going to have our influencers attack you 2 weeks ago, to what do you want?
Yeah. Well, they want it to go away. They want this to go away.
So they're clearly panicking over the fallout from that DOJ memo, sending the vice president to meet with a comedian podcaster. Like, they must have been so worried about this. Also, it's ironic JD Vance wants this to go away because just a few years ago, he said, what possible interest would the U.S. government have in keeping the Epstein client secret?
Think about that. What possible interest would the U.S. government have in keeping the Epstein clients secret? Oh, so now, 4 years, it was 4 years ago, you wanted the Epstein files released, and now you don't want the Epstein files released. Like, I guess that greed and power, man, get the people.
And if you're a journalist and you're not asking questions about this case, you should be ashamed of yourself. What purpose do you even serve? Maybe try doing your job once in a while. But of course now he's done a complete 180 and he wants journalists to just shut up about it, and he's helping keep the files hidden. I wonder why. He's trying to protect the clients, I guess. But even with all the damage control they're doing, it doesn't seem to be working. I mean, it seems like they're trying to release just enough to make people happy, but it only seems to make things worse. Like, I think with this recent files drop, they're hoping the pictures of Bill Clinton would placate Trump's base and maybe get Democrats to shut up. Because of course there are a bunch of pictures of him in the release, as expected. I think everybody knows this guy's a creep, and most people want to see him prosecuted. But we know it'll probably never happen. We've been hearing this for such a long time. It's so funny, people are still like, oh shit, we caught Bill Clinton, this is it, it's over for him. But everybody knows this is going to lead to nothing. It's pathetic. I mean, we've been waiting for Pam Bondi to prosecute Epstein clients, and if Bill Clinton's one of them, and if he's a pedophile, then go after him. But of course, it's never going to happen because it's one big club, and Bill Clinton's in it, and I'm sure if he goes down, everyone goes down with him.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you prosecute Bill Clinton gonna snitch on everybody. Bill Clinton, like, if I'm going down with everybody. And Bill Clinton ain't got none to lose. Bill Clinton was a 2-term president. He's in his, 70s now? Late 70s or something like that? So Bill Clinton goes down, everybody going down. The president is sitting up there, he going down. Bush is going down. Everybody, senators, Supreme Court justices, mayors, and governors, they all going down. So Bill Clinton is like, release the files. I want to... Yo, if I'm going down, I'm sending everybody down.
Because if that weren't the case, I think they would have thrown him under the bus right away. It would have satisfied a lot of Trump's fans. And it seems like that might be kind of what they're trying to do now, but it's too little too late. And I don't think Pam Bondi will ever prosecute him. But They're clearly throwing these pictures out there to try to satisfy Trump fans for a little. It's like just tossing out some breadcrumbs to try to keep people happy.
True.
While they try to cover up everything else, including Bill Clinton's involvement. They literally released these pictures so they don't have to release the more damning evidence. I mean, you'll see people post these pictures and act like, whoa, it's not looking good for Bill. Even the press secretary retweeted the picture and is like, oh my. But if you're disturbed by this, then demand for the full release of the files and prosecute the clients. It makes no sense to be like, oh my God, this picture's horrible, but the files are a hoax and we should move on from talking about them. Like, you can't have it both ways. You know, these people always go back and forth. First, they claim they're files, then there weren't files, then there were again, but they're a hoax, but now they're real and only a hoax when Trump's involved. I mean, it's so funny because people will be like, man, did you see that birthday letter Bill Clinton?
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to continue the video. It's a hoax when Trump's involved, but when Clinton is involved, it's real. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. You can't have it both ways. You can't throw Bill Clinton under the bus to keep your party, keep your base happy, and think that's going to make it end. Because this is bigger than just Bill Clinton. People saying that Bill Clinton is involved in it, let him be prosecuted. But if you just get Bill Clinton, okay, that's one small player in a whole like big rotation of people, though.
And sent Epstein, that was really creepy. But the one that Trump sent him is totally normal. I didn't think anything of it. But it seems like they know Trump's involved, but they're just too closely associated with him to jump ship now. You know, they'd rather just help cover up a child sex trafficking ring. It's wild. So now if the files actually do come out, the collateral damage is going to be catastrophic. You know, it's going to destroy so many people's reputation. And it's already destroyed people's credibility, like Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. They're a complete joke. And Dan Bongino, he's stepping down at the FBI, which has gotten mixed reactions. But it'll be interesting to see if people still trust him. Because before he was at the FBI, he kept telling everyone for years to stay focused on the Epstein files and continue to push for the release. But then once he got the position at the FBI, he just wanted people to move on from it. Also, now a lot of people even try to downplay Epstein's crimes. Like before this recent release a few months ago, Megyn Kelly said some wild shit. I think she got a call from the administration because she said she also has a source. And she was acting like, is Epstein really a pedophile? You know, I heard he just liked barely legal teen girls.
And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he
barely legal, don't. Oh man, Megyn, I used to respect you, but you just taking money from the freaking. You take y'all all in the same bucket. You know what I'm saying? Y'all wanted the. I remember watching an episode of Megyn Kelly a while back, and she was adamant about releasing the Epstein files. Now that you got a call from J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and those boys over there, now you got to play damage control. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't y'all stand on y'all principles for something? I mean, I understand y'all conservatives and y'all want to keep favor with the Trump administration, but sometimes y'all gotta stand on principle, yo. You want Democrats to stand on principle. Why don't some conservatives stand on principles?
He liked 15-year-old girls. We have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview.
So I don't know why anyone would try to make this point. This is insane. I mean, literally the name of his plane is referencing a pedophile, and there were alleged victims as young as 11. And the girls in some of these pictures, you can't see their faces, they're blocked out, but they look really young. So with all the information out there and knowing more is coming out, to try to make this point is wild. Like, she must have not thought this through at all. But maybe the recent file drop changed her mind. I mean, Epstein said he was checking IDs to make sure girls were underage. Also, I saw it now, they're deleting files because they forgot to redact some with Trump in it, which just draws more attention to them. So I don't know how they didn't catch that before the release. You know, I figured that's what they're looking out for. But the DOJ always acts like they're rushed and they didn't have enough time to release everything and censor the victims' names. But this has been going on for like 6 months at this point, and there are reports of them 6 months ago redacting names. And every time it comes down to actually releasing them, it's like, we need more time, the files aren't ready, they're not with us, or we're protecting the victims. And by victims, they probably mostly mean the clients. That's all they really seem to care about protecting. But now, since they didn't release all the files and they deleted some, people think Pam Bondi should be impeached. Even Trump fans, they hate her too, because she just insults everyone's intelligence. I mean, she's gone back and forth on this so many times. Like, first they did that binder stunt and she gave everybody already publicly available information and said it was the Epstein files and said they're the most transparent administration. So that completely backfired and everyone just got pissed at her. So
that's the thing, though. You can't tell somebody that you're giving out files and you're walking out the White House with all these binders with all these pages. I guarantee them pages were empty. It was nothing in those files, whatever. And you talking about we're gonna be the most transparent administration ever. I mean, that's a bunch of crap, man. It's only, my thing is this: if you're going to be conservative, at least have some type of morals, yo. It's like these people don't have any morals, and the victims are the powerful people. I always say this: if you're not here to protect the people or protect the innocent or protect the victims, then at the end of the day, you don't need to be doing your job, yo.
then she's like, all right, well, now a bunch of files just got to my desk. I just got a truckload of evidence. I have hundreds of hours of videos. It's all coming out. We're the most transparent administration. But then soon after that, the DOJ announced they had nothing. And then they also said Epstein killed himself, and she lied about the cell footage. So every few months, whenever the Epstein stuff heats up, they do this whole runaround where they talk about how transparent they are, but they just need more time to protect the victims.
All files, with limited exceptions, to be released within 30 days. On Friday, the Justice Department released just a fraction of the overall Epstein files. Why didn't the Justice Department meet that Friday deadline?
Good morning. So it's very simple and very clear. The statute also requires us to protect victims. And so the reason why we are still reviewing documents and still continuing our process is simply that, to protect victims. So the same individuals that are out there complaining about the lack of documents that were produced on Friday are the same individuals who apparently don't want us to protect victims. So we're going through a very methodical process with hundreds of lawyers looking at every single document and making sure that victims' names and any of the information from victims is protected and redacted, which is exactly what the Transparency Act expects. That's exactly what Attorney General Bondi expects.
So I don't think we'll ever...
Hold on. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Y'all released the pictures with Clinton, but then released the pictures of everybody else. Y'all had time to black out those pictures with Clinton, but y'all didn't have time to black out the pictures with other individuals and other people who are in power or is in power. Like you only gonna release. Just say you're just gonna release the pictures you want to release. Then people would, you know what I'm saying? You just tell us the truth. The truth is you're only going to release the pictures that you want to release.
Never get the full files, but now there's more pressure to release them than ever. And obviously the more that comes out, the worse it looks, and the more people should be demanding for the release. Like, of course, the DOJ was hoping that the files that were released on Friday would be good enough for people and they'd shut up about it now. But it didn't work, and it never seems to work. You know, they've tried to get people to move on from this so many times already. It's not going away. And whenever they get caught, it's like, give us time. You know, we're in the process. We just need to protect the clients, victims. But people are running out of patience. I mean, I'm glad they released what they did, but it's just nothing in the grand scheme of things. I mean, the Bill Clinton pictures look bad, but they're probably nothing compared to the redacted files about him. You know, I'm sure there's so much worse about him in the files. Like, I'm sure they just released the least damning evidence. And we're probably just hoping it would satisfy people with these pictures of celebrities. I mean, also there's a picture of Michael Jackson and Epstein in there, which I think was a new development. And of course it looked pretty creepy. But some people seem to think this is a red herring. Like, they put this in there so it would catch people's attention and they just focus on that. Because also the deputy press secretary tweeted out this picture of Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, and Diana Ross and their kids. And they blocked out their kids' faces, so it makes you think they're victims. But this picture had already been publicly available on the internet. So I don't know why she's acting like this is a big bombshell in the files. Well, it seems like they might be trying to use this as a red herring, you know, because of Michael Jackson's controversy. Obviously, when you see this, you think the worst. So also some other celebrities that were in the files are David Blaine and David Copperfield, which David Copperfield has this picture with Maxwell that looks pretty bad, you know, because most of these other pictures look like they're in a professional setting. And just because you've taken a picture with Epstein doesn't mean you're involved with him or you're doing anything wrong. But the pictures of David Copperfield and Bill Clinton probably look the worst. So a few other ones were Chris Tucker, Mick Jagger, and Kevin Spacey, which Kevin Spacey has already admitted to being on Epstein's private jet with young girls.
I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy?
That's the thing, though. You know what I'm saying? And Kevin Spacey, he's already, he's already done with what his allegations are. But hey, man, what do y'all think about this whole Epstein file thing, man? Are we gonna get the full disclosure of the Epstein files? It's your boy Jay here with another video. Make sure that like button, make sure the subscribe button. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, folks, I'm out.